Thanks for having me.
Absolutely.
Hey, Rose. How are you? Good to see you.
Good. That was such a treat to hear Allie. I'm a huge fan of hers, so that was awesome.
Yeah, truly innovative, and no, excited to hear all the different entrepreneurs that have taken 0 to 100 these amazing companies. So, thank you for joining. You are an innovator in your own right. You've been innovating marketing for years, and I did want to start off by saying, first off, this is a true heartfelt thank you. Early days when we first launched Influential, the industry that was most willing to try things was always entertainment. Entertainment's like, let's figure out a way to do something really cool and creative and quick moves and break things and see what happens. And you guys were a great partner. I think year 1 or 2, we did dozens of titles. So thank you for helping us kind of get our legs under us and figure out our AI technology, and wouldn't happen without partners like yourself.
No, definitely. Well, you guys, I know, we vet a lot of companies, and I think you guys had not only the influencer base, but like the technology behind it too. So it's to your guys' credit too that we've been able to work with you guys in such a long-standing fashion. So
thank you. Well, I appreciate that for reciprocating it. You didn't have to. Well, Rose, I mean, I have to be remiss if I don't talk about the thing that the infamous 2020. How did you handle it? What did you do? What did your teams do? Obviously, you got your vertical more than most also got affected. So what is it that you guys did to basically get through it and hopefully become out stronger than before?
Yeah, I mean, I think probably like everybody, we thought, March of last year, we were going home for 2 weeks and we'd be back in the office and things would be back to normal. And that didn't happen. So it's been an interesting year. I think to our team's credit, we had actually been working already on Microsoft Teams as sort of like a chat channel. So that was super easy to get ramped up on as soon as we were, in a working from home environment. And then, from a workflow perspective, it was actually really great because we started to, as we saw that theaters, weren't opening anytime soon, our team was able to kind of look around, Sony, which has a lot of different divisions, and lend our expertise and help to a lot of different departments that we'd never worked with before. So we started working on some projects for the Game Show Network. We helped our sister PlayStation help with the PS5 and some initiatives there. So, and then on like the home entertainment and catalog stuff, which was, a part of the business that was still up and running, our social team really took that on with a passion, just in terms of working on those campaigns and developing content for them. So we never really stopped down, which was nice. I mean, I think probably not everybody can say that, but it was very rewarding to be able to keep working and then build some different relationships across the company of folks that we hadn't worked with before. So
well, I'm sure it meant the world to your team to be able to keep the unit together and hopefully expand going forward. And I know our company's saying everyone had that decision to make. What do you do? And fortunately, we bet on ourselves, and it worked out. We've actually grown exponentially even since the pandemic. So I'm glad you guys were able to do that. I think in part you mentioned like the things you were doing, the life cycle marketing approach, which is essentially new. It's a mixture of the releases, home entertainment, and catalog. I mean, for those, we should have hundreds of brand marketers on here that come on and want to hear like what is it that they should be thinking about holistically for their business. Can you explain kind of how you look at that and how that came about?
Yeah. I mean, it's been new for us in this time, but instead of what we would have historically done is like we'd run the theatrical campaign and then we'd hand over the keys to the home entertainment team to take on the campaign. Now it's one holistic team, and so it really is a huge benefit to think about a campaign from that like life cycle perspective. So it's not about just, how do you drive people into the theaters? You need to think about the whole long tail of people that aren't going to go to theaters or going to buy the DVD or watch it at home. So it's been a bit of a mind shift because we haven't always thought that way in the past, but I think it just makes sense. Like it's so much more efficient and rewarding to think about a campaign from that, just the full life cycle perspective. So it's still somewhat new to us. And I think we haven't had movies in theaters for a while. So we're going to really test this out, once we get back up and running. But the fact that we've already been working on some of the catalog stuff, it's given at least our team some insight into how that, that side of the business works. And it just makes a lot of sense. So it's exciting.
Well, I was curious, just purely from a consumer perspective, I mean, it's changed over the years. I remember distinctly, like watching, well, I was too young to watch in the theaters, but like Back to the Future, and then it'd take a few years for it to be able to like get like VHS and then watch on TV. So it was like in the 80s. But now, is it pretty much the moment that you guys are releasing movies that like you expect that all the different companies, the on-demand services are going to start like within a month or two? Like when does home entertainment usually kick in?
I think it depends. I would say it's probably, going to continue to shift and evolve now, just as windows are changing with, with the HBO and HBO Max. I think everybody has to take a closer look at like what those windows look like, and we'll probably, Sony will be a little more traditional on how that looks, but I think you also have to look at how the marketplace looks and make some decisions that way. So
Sure.
it's all interesting to watch.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we're all consumers as well as part of the business, but I love the catalog play. I don't know if you don't anything can say, but is there anything coming out or anything you guys have been doing around the catalog that is public knowledge that's really cool, like where you guys have revived maybe older movies?
There's some very cool stuff that I can't talk about that's in the works.
Makes sense.
And it's great. We're working on, a lot of our different, franchise things. So we'll be doing, a lot for the Ghostbusters anniversary coming up in the Spider-Man franchise. So all of those catalog titles, and even, admittedly things that I haven't watched before, certain holidays for movies that have come up that we're, celebrating. We just did a Care Bears 2 campaign, which was a throwback to my childhood. So that was exciting. So yeah, it's, the catalog and the breadth of the content that we have is impressive. So
I love it.
Yeah, it's good.
Obviously going like I'm not sure if you guys are still, actually I should ask you, are you guys going in the office, or is the office closed?
We are not. The lot is open from a production standpoint for, certain folks and things that need to happen there. And I don't know when we'll be headed back. But the good news is we've proven we can work, very effectively from home. And so it's working well. So I guess as long as we need to be here, we will be.
I brought up on part because again, maybe people get jaded if they work every day, but whenever we went there, it was a treat. The Ghostbuster car is there. It's such a nostalgic spot. I see Seinfeld on the walls. Everything is just all about what you guys have done over the years, and you basically have shaped pop culture for the last 30, 40 years. So hopefully that leads. Hopefully I get to go visit you guys again soon.
I know. I missed a lot. We did have over the summer another thing that we worked on. We had a drive-in, a Sony Pictures drive-in. So we had some movies that played. So we got to go back to the parking lot, but still we saw the rainbow. So that was as close as we got. But yeah, I miss it too. And
incremental steps. So almost back in the office.
Yes.
Well, so speaking of kind of guys, see you the Microsoft Teams, you got everybody back kind of in the swing of things. Either internally or externally, what's been the kind of a purpose-driven kind of feel-good initiative you guys did to obviously combat all the negativity in the world, and I'm sure just trying to find a silver lining somewhere?
Yeah, no, that's a great question, and I will say, in the most genuine way, like I have never been more proud to work at Sony than I have been in this past year, and seeing the efforts that they've done. So they launched something called the Sony Pictures Action, which is really focused on providing resources and financial support to racial equity and justice reform. They've created employee match programs, and they continue to expand this program to different members of the community. So it's been incredible, and we've been able to be a part of that. And they're launching things like a diverse storytellers program. We've gotten some insight to stuff that was already happening, but they've really expanded on that, and it's been very rewarding to be a part of it, especially from our team. We get to help with amplifying those efforts from a digital and social perspective too.
I love that, and I think everyone has. Oh, can you hear me?
Yeah, maybe.
Cool. Yeah, I'm not sure if it's my connection. Hopefully you can hear me. So I heard everything you said. I love what you're you're talking about. I mean, I think for years, everyone obviously has that in the back of their mind, but really to make it came to the forefront, obviously, in society last June, July, just everyone trying to find ways to give back and to lean in. And I love that you mentioned both, not just equality, but equity. And that's extremely important because, and especially like in the creator community, whether you're a creator of movies or TV or creator of digital shorts or whatever it is, ultimately, if you're not getting equal pay, if you're not getting equal opportunity for activations. So yeah, we actually launched, similar to what you guys are doing as well, amplify diverse voices. And obviously the focus last June, July was more the Black Lives Matter piece, but really has always been, it has to expand to Asian, Hispanic, LGBTQIA, Middle Eastern, pretty much everyone now is, needs to be in the mix, of the representation is there. And we'd love to obviously help. So if you guys are doing any of that kind of stuff, there are so many amazing creators and a number of students we work with that, lean into, all diversities. So.
Yeah, that would be great. It certainly is a focus, a focus on every, for every division at Sony. So I think that's great.
Beautiful. Well, so let's go back to the divisions of marketing. So hopefully they're applying the amplifying the voices. When you think of the channels from maybe the last 5 years to what's going forward, the next couple years, is it changing? Is it evolving? Are things that were big like YouTube less so now? Just curious to know kind of what you guys think about the social channels, but even the linear and other channels.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a big machine to get a movie, released. It's like, if you think about it, you're launching a new product every time. Like, you have to, build awareness. You've got to get people, converted, and then you have to get them to like go and buy a ticket. So I think it's typically a no stone left unturned, business, in terms of, you need a lot of those marketing channels, from, the TV to the outdoor, right? The more traditional methods to, all of the social platforms, which are incredibly important. And for me, I think it's just making sure you're following and being where the audience is. So, our focus is on the digital and social channels. So we're making sure, if audience is shifting over to, TikTok, like we need to be there, and we need to be there in a meaningful way. And we need to be talking to those audiences in a way that they're consuming content on those platforms. So it's, it's an all-encompassing thing. And, now even still, we're thinking about it from, not just the theatrical window, which was, you're building up towards this massive opening weekend, but now we're thinking about it too from the whole life cycle approach. So how do we sustain that, across those different channels too? So
I love that you mentioned that it's essentially like launching a new product every few weeks or every month the slate comes out. I'm curious how you think about this, because yeah, you're at a disadvantage. There's advantages for obviously doing things quick and trying to make a lot of the noise, but those are the disadvantages where you don't own Coca-Cola. You don't have like that @ handle that has 10 million followers. You have your own Sony handles. You have some celebrities that hopefully part of the contract are going to promote it a bunch as well, and then you have influencers. I mean, how do you guys think about your own and operated channels on these platforms? Do you spend time and money building those up, or is it more about the individual productions?
Yeah, no, we definitely do. And I think, we have to think about, we're doing that earlier than ever, right? Like, if you're thinking, from a social perspective, we're starting our long lead strategy before you even go into production, because there's going to be, talent who's sharing content from set, or we're going to be sharing content on set. So we put a lot of effort into building up those, our own channels. We have our own Sony Pictures channels, but we're typically launching new channels, for almost every film title that we release, because you're going to typically leverage that, in multiple windows. It's easier when you have a great franchise property like a Spider-Man or a Jumanji with massive built-in base already. But yeah, oftentimes we are investing from a paid and organic perspective to build up those audiences for every movie, which I think you have to, because again, it's like you gotta reach them. So that's part of it.
And I used to do obviously your audience first, and so are we. So 100%. I'm always curious, and if you don't know this, if you don't feel comfortable talking about this, I guess if I was looking at this like from like a consultant, in the third party, do I look at the trends over the last couple decades and focus on the best IP? Or is it more about the audience that are most likely to watch in movie or at home entertainment, and almost kind of make the IP shape towards the audiences that are most likely to consume obviously everyone watches movies and watches content, but it's all in different kind of waves. So are you like in your minds going like, hey, we need some more YA Gen Z stuff for the next couple of years because it's just hot right now? Or do you guys think about it in audience first on the titles you go after, or is it more the titles are made and the IP is selected and then it's all about audience?
Yeah, it's a good question. I think I am not the one that gets to greenlight the movies. That would be fun if I did. But for me, I would say it's kind of like managing a diverse portfolio, right? Like you want your big franchise titles in there. You want some genre stuff that can reach, horror fans that there's a really active movie going audience base. So you sort of want a nice blend of it. And I think one of the reasons I like working at Sony is, sometimes we get to equate ourselves as like, the largest independent studio. It's like, we still get to work on Quentin Tarantino films and we get to work on Spider-Man. So we get a really nice blend of those, different types of IP that reach different audience, whether it's an older adult audience or younger moviegoers. So I think it's finding a good blend, really. I think if you bank on a full franchise strategy, it's like you just have to then really hope all those franchises stay vibrant. So it's nice to have a blend for sure.
I mean, I'm not sure if you're willing to answer this, but like, do you love all your children equally, or are there certain movies that you like, oh, I can't wait for this, like this is the one? Like, is there certain favorites, or are they all the same?
Yeah, we treat all our children equally, and but there are ones like working on Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was an absolute treat for me. So there's certain fangirl, whatever that may be, that are exciting, but it's also what makes my job fun. Like, yes, you have to launch a new product every time, but it's always interesting and it's always a little bit different. So it's fun, whether it's a family title or a horror title. It's a nice.
We had the pleasure of working with you guys on Spider-Verse, which is obviously it's an amazing film. And one of our friends produces that. And then on the even the Fantasy Island side, so even like the kind of darker, kind of Blumhouse type feeling type movies. I can only imagine those marketing meetings where it's like how you have to think of all the subversive things for those horror films, and all the hopefully holistic and wholesome things that are for like the family films.
Exactly. Yes. Which is why it's great to work, from an influencer perspective too, right? To help us tap into those different audiences. And yeah, Fantasy Island, that was a fun one to work with you guys on.
Well, it's a good segue. So I'd love to hear, I'm sure everyone else would, what is your current POV on influencers? Now, influencers are a loaded term. It could be nano, micro, macro, mega, so different kind of alliterations. Do you guys have a certain POV? Obviously, audiences first, but is it the smaller ones? Is it more the celebrities in the movies? Where do you guys kind of put talent in your marketing mix?
I think you have to kind of take an all access approach to influencers. Like, I think they're important, extremely important from a campaign perspective. And I think, again, like, you want to try to tap into all facets of that. And I think in particular too, as we get back to going to, movie going in theaters, it'll be really, really important to tap into influencers to help kind of, be a part of that movement and word of mouth. So, and we take we evaluate every film differently, whether it's, we're looking at influencers on a specific platform, right? Like, the whole TikTok influencer movement, or if it's something where you're looking at more bespoke kind of, YouTube creators. So it's not a one size fits all approach, but it certainly is a really important part of every, marketing mix and strategy for a film.
Well, you brought up TikTok, short form, like obviously TikTok is a big winner last year and this year. Really short form video was the biggest winner. I mean, every single platform realized that the most attention grabbing format is 10 to 30 second short form kind of looping videos, almost like a nod back to the old Vine days, but no longer, a little better production abilities. Do you guys see that as like I know you can't rank them because each one's different based on audiences, but is TikTok up there now with the same spend you're expecting on YouTube or Facebook? I guess where do you think people are going to move towards budget wise? Is it going to be the newer platforms? Or is it more the old faithfuls, you think?
I think you every time you follow the audience, right? Like, be where your audience is, and like there's a massive audience base on TikTok now. Like it's not a fleeting trend by any means. So it's a part of our strategy for pretty much every film now, in memory. And yeah, it's funny, like short form video, we used to joke about the 3-second audition for audiences. Now I feel like it's the 1-second audition. Yeah. So yeah, we're trying to get make sure you get your message across in a meaningful way. And that's hard. Like it used to be everybody could sit in a dark theater and watch your 2-minute trailer with a captive audience. So now you really have to think about, there still is that audience that's going to, watch your trailer in full, but what are the other ways that they're going to get, consume content about your movie and get your message sold through. So it's a challenge, and it's definitely platform by platform where we're trying to develop messages for those.
Sure. And some of my most fun campaigns in the early days with you guys there was that kind of longer form or shorter form video as part of like a screening that would happen with influencers and stuff. But the red carpets were amazing. I mean, I remember that there's a special something about Hollywood where if you go to one of the major theaters, the Man Chinese Theater, whatever it is, if you're actually out there and you're able to have that experience. Now we've been unable to do that for the last year and a half. Is that something where you think that is a huge, like once that comes back, like that's going to be kind of a revival of go to the theater, people actually having the red carpet, or is it you think more now people are kind of more the content can be made pretty much anywhere by anybody at any time?
That's a good question. I hope so. I mean, I do think there will be a renaissance of certain things that feel communal and people want to do things together again, for sure. I know I miss that. I think I don't think I'm alone in missing some of those moments. I think it'll be interesting just from like a marketing message standpoint now. Like there is a lot of content out there and a lot of different places to consume content. Not that there wasn't already, but I think really as you get back to like going to a theater, people are just maybe not as like, it's not as top of mind. So I think just making sure that message, shines through, because it's like, we've all been watching stuff, at home for the last year. So it's just making sure that that message breaks through amongst the other content that's out there.
Sure. Well, we talk about obviously content. We focus on this, and I imagine you guys do as well, just from our discussions over the years. So the role of data. Now, you probably, I would imagine that if I was touting, just knowing from speaking to you guys in the past, you guys have amassed so much information over the last decade plus of running campaigns. You said it's audience first, and then obviously audience and data are interconnected. Are you guys always, do you have your own first party data? Do you use third party data? I guess, how do you think about data and making decisions on marketing?
Yeah, no, it's both. We've got a really good, Sony as a whole has access to first party data, and they're working with partners, really to just help make informed, marketing decisions. And we use data as input to get information when we launch content and see what, fans and audiences are saying, to get information. And then, it's also, I always think the entertainment business and the movie going business is like, it's also interesting too, because it's also very creative. And data isn't always the answer on everything too. So it's really, you have to strike a balance between the two, but it's a data-driven world now. I mean, I don't think there's any company out there that I know of that's not using data in some way to make informed decisions. So.
Well, and data obviously can be kind of ubiquitous term, but maybe then the last piece of it is when you identify those audiences, you serve them with the right advertisement. How do you consider, what does measurement look like from a major studio right now? Is it about, I mean, butts and seats are a little hard right now, but is it full closed loop conversion? Is it more top of funnel? Is it brand lift? Like, where do you guys kind of live?
Yeah, I think it's sort of where you're at in the funnel and figuring out what the data points are, because it's like, we really do. It's like you've got multiple phases to get through, right? Of like, introduction, where you're looking at, awareness and interest, and then you're trying to move people all the way through to conversion, where you're looking at, closed loop conversions. So it's different in every phase, but it's a part of every phase.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we'll finish our platform talk with this one, and we can finish off if we have a few minutes left. Clubhouse. Are you personally on Clubhouse? Are you a moderator there? Do you listen? What do you do on that?
I couldn't decline the invites after a while, so I am on there as a passive participant. Yes, I have not been moderating or doing any chats. Yes, yourself?
So I've done both. I'll be fully transparent. I think when I can't spend the 2 or 3 hours listening to other people can do each. I don't have enough time in the day. I've done like an hour-long moderated sessions, but I mean, the people that drop in are nuts. Like people that like are AI like scientists, but like people that we never plan on happening. But once you get the right kind of conversation going, so I'm intrigued and very optimistic about it. I guess for you, do you see it as because you guys are obviously B2C? Do you think it's a 10 to 12 million kind of, according to the recent stats, 10 to 12 million daily active users? Is this something you guys are looking at to spend money on, or is it more just like you're just gonna sit back and see if it grows, or kind of what's the POV on that?
Yeah, we've been investigating it, and actually, talking to their partnerships team and just seeing what the opportunities are. And for me, I think right now it's interesting. Like, can we get our filmmakers on there to do some chats? I think it's a really great format for filmmakers and creatives to get on the platform. So I'm hoping we can leverage it from that perspective. I don't think there's really a lot of paid opportunities there, but I think organically, like, yes, we should absolutely have our filmmakers and talent on there and helping to host some chats. And same thing with Twitter Spaces, which is similar in their version of Clubhouse. So
sure.
For sure, anytime there's a new platform, we're investigating the opportunities and what makes sense.
I love it. Well, obviously, anything you can do that's doesn't cost you money, you can find ways to promote it. Go for it. But we have seen in the last month or so a few different brands where it's like XYZ brand presents, and then kind of like an esoteric, like the future of content, something kind of like it's a conversational topic. And we've seen a number of, they call them mods or moderators, start to monetize it. So I think we're in the infancy stages of people starting to find ways to. Anytime there's audiences, people want to try to find a way to make money off of it. So.
Yes, of course.
Very cool. Well, I know we're kind of heading to the end here. Well, again, I know all your children and your slate are equal. Is there anything coming up that you're excited about that is in the next year, 2 years? Obviously, I'm sure a lot of the slate you're moving around, obviously figuring out what COVID happens. But anything that's huge that you guys like, that's going to be my next big kind of Leo movie type thing.
Oh my gosh, yeah. No, we have a nice meaty slate ahead of us, so we're excited. I mean, we've got the next Spider-Man movie, which we announced the titles, No Way Home. We've got another Spider-Verse movie in the works. We have a Venom sequel that is going to be amazing. The Ghostbusters Afterlife movie. So, and then we've got some other, different titles that are just going to be very special. Cinderella movie with Camila Cabello. That's really awesome. So yeah, it's exciting. I am chomping at the bit to, have some of these out in the world too for people to experience. So
beautiful.
That's
well,
great.
I know. So we're talking all about business today. But is there anything you're looking forward to personally? Obviously, we've all been cooped up in our houses, trying to figure out how to live in a kind of post-COVID world. Is there anything happening? Us marketers are people too. What's happening in your life?
I live in LA and I live somewhat close to the airport. Like, I want to fly on a plane again. I just want to go somewhere. I don't even care where. But yeah, and I want to be able to, get together, with friends and family. So probably it's, the simple stuff, and see a movie in a theater. Just some of those things. How about yourself?
So hopefully at some point in the future we can grab a drink, but same. I think everyone's the same pace. I'm actually I'm moving to Miami. I'm leaving. I've lived in LA for 15 years, so that I could be near family, but also near even though I'm close to the beach, but like if you're in Hollywood, you're not really close to the beach.
Yeah.
So being that way, and I think just a little more space, a little more walking around room, and when you're not in a major city.
Yeah, for sure. No, it's been a good time to reflect in like this time to see what matters too. Find some things are less, less important. It's good reflection and reset time. So
Exactly. Well, Rose, as always, sage advice, and truly appreciate making time. And we'll hopefully connect soon and find ways to work together again.
this was super fun. Yeah, looking forward to working with you guys, and good luck on the move.
Thank you so much, Rose. All right, speak soon. Have a good day.
Bye.
Bye.
All right, that was a little bit of a strange transition, but we made it.
Well, you weren't very quick on your draw, Chris. That was on you.
No, it wasn't my draw. It was the BI team. I was like, wait, what's going on here? Usually they merge me in, so I'm like the playoff music for the Oscars, but all good. Probably 6 people watching at this point anyway. So that was an awesome way to end the day. Rose is not here for me to give my thanks to, but if you're listening, Rose, wherever you are, thank you so much. That was fantastic. So that closes our day on influencer marketing content. It was a great day with lots of great speakers. We're excited for our next upcoming event. Join us Thursday, April 21st at noon Eastern time for our next full day of sessions. It's already shaping up to be our best event to date, so we hope you can join us. We also hope that you can join Brand Innovators on Tuesday for their 2nd annual summit on marketing to Gen Z. They'll be joined by marketing leaders from US Bank, Marriott International, Harman International, Elf Beauty, American Eagle Outfitters, Dove, and Frito-Lay. Thank you everyone for joining, and we'll see you again soon.